Hi everyone, it's Kathy. Thank you so much for joining me. I am super excited. Today, Marla and I are celebrating our 1,000 subscriber milestone here on YouTube, and we are celebrating with a little hop. The products that I'll be using are the Thankful for You stamp set by Trinity Stamps, the standalone Scripty Thanks die set, also from Trinity Stamps, the Slimline Stitched die set, and the Slimline Scenic Borders die set, also by Trinity Stamps. The theme for this hop was to do fall foliage or florals, and there's one in every group, and I decided to do gnomes, but there are pumpkins in this little image as well, so I think that pumpkins count as fall foliage. Anyway, we do have a lot of giveaways for this hop, and it is a hashtag driven hop, which you will find the hashtag in my title as well as in the description box below. So all you have to do to follow along with all of us who are participating in the hop is click on that hashtag, and you'll be able to see what everyone else has created. As I mentioned, there are some giveaways, and I'll talk about those a little bit later in the video. But to start out, I stamped these super cute little gnomes onto a piece of Cougar Super Smooth cardstock with Memento Tuxedo black ink, and then I just jump right in with the coloring. I started out coloring their shoes because I wanted to make sure that I didn't color their shoes as part of the pumpkins. I did very, very simple coloring on this image for the most part, and I'll make sure to have all of the Copics that I used listed in the description box below. For their shoes, I started with E79 and added that closest to the pumpkins and around the outer edges, and then I filled the rest of the shoe in with E74. For the skin, I started with E21 and I concentrated that again underneath the lip of the hat, just because that's where the shadows would be. I blended that out with E51 and then E50. The two things that I really wanted to focus on in regard to the coloring is the green pumpkin, because I've never colored a green pumpkin, and so I did a quick search on Pinterest and found a couple that I thought I could copy. And for the green pumpkin, I started out with YG63, and I used it pretty sparingly and did very random flicks. I didn't want the flicks to all be the same length or width. I was very careful and really tried to use the very tip of the marker to get those random flick marks. The next color that I came in with was YG61, and I extended the flicks out a little bit further and started to fill the pumpkin in some more. But I did leave some white space just to make sure that I still had that very random look. I did concentrate the darker color, YG63, on the outer edges and at the bottom of the pumpkin, just to make sure that it maintained its nice round shape. Then I came in with my darkest color, which is BG96, and I waited to bring in the darkest color because I tend to be heavy-handed, and I didn't want to have a dark green pumpkin. I wanted to have a lighter green pumpkin with some nice shadows. Moving on to the orange pumpkin, these colors I've used in previous videos, and I did the same technique. I concentrated the darkest color around the stem area and then along the bottom of the pumpkin. And after I was done with that, I came in with my mid-tone, and I made sure again to leave that white space so I could have that nice highlight in the center to keep my pumpkin looking round. For the small pumpkin in the back, I did a beige pumpkin, and I used my usual E43, E42, E41, and then I did come in with E44, which is my darkest color, just to add in some more shadows. Now, going back to the green pumpkin as well as the beige pumpkin, another reason I used my darkest color last to add in the shadows is because I knew that the lighter colors would kind of bleach out that darker color. And I did come back in with the YG63 and the YG61 on the green pumpkin just to blend out the darkest color a little bit. For the pumpkin stems on the green and orange pumpkin, I used E34, E31, and E25. And for the stem on the beige pumpkin, I just used one color, YG63, because it's a pretty small area. Now, moving on to the hats of the gnomes. This was the other part of the coloring that I wanted to focus on. I decided to try something different and do some underpainting on my gnome hats. So I started out with YR24, and I added that where the shadows would be the darkest. I had recently read an article about underpainting and shadows, and in the article it read that shadows aren't necessarily a darker color of the color that you're using. It's the same color, just desaturated. So I decided to give it a try on these little gnome hats, and I think I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Anyway, once I had the areas colored in with the YR24, where the shadows would be the darkest, I came in with my darkest blue, which is B99, and I colored it directly over the YR24, but then I did extend it out a little bit further. And to give the hats a little bit more definition to their shape, where the lip of the hat is turned up a little bit, I did add in the YR24 behind that line that's drawn in for me. And then when I went over it with the B99, I extended the B99 just the smallest little bit, just to make it go up a little bit further, so that the shadow would be darkest closest to the little part of the hat that flipped up, and the shadow would be a little bit lighter just above that. I hope that makes sense. Moving right along after the B99, I came in with the B97 and extended that out a little bit further. I did leave white space down the center of each of the hats so that they would also maintain their round shape. And the lightest blue that I used was B45. So while I finish up the coloring, I'll go over all of the fabulous prizes that we have for this hop of ours. But before I do that, I do want to say thank you to all of you who have supported my channel and subscribed. I appreciate you all very, very much. To the ladies who are participating in this hop, thank you all for supporting Marla and I in reaching this milestone. And please forgive my voice. I've been a little busy with voiceovers, so I don't have much of a voice left. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, to the ladies who are participating in this hop celebrating Marla and I appreciate all of you so much for your support as well. To the sponsors who donated gifts for our little hop, thank you very much. It is so appreciated. And finally, thank you, Marla, for your support and for your friendship. Without you approaching me to do a collaboration for the very first time, I don't know that I would be where I am with YouTube. So big, huge thanks and big, huge hugs to you. Now let's get on with the prizes. We have a $10 gift certificate that was donated by the Greetery. We have a $25 gift certificate donated by Cat Scrappiness. We have two $20 gift certificates donated by 7 Kids Crafts. We have a $25 gift certificate that was donated by the Not Too Shabby Shop. But wait, there's more. Marla will be giving away a stamp set from ink to paper, as well as a $25 gift certificate to the Greetery. Those two prizes will be given away on her channel. And I will be giving away a $25 gift certificate to Stampin Munchkins and a $25 gift certificate to Whimsy Stamps, and those will be given away on my channel. So to be entered into the giveaway, all you have to do is leave a comment on as many videos as you would like. The more videos where you leave a comment, the better chances you have to win a prize. Make sure you leave a comment no later than October 23rd at 11:59 p.m. The winners will be announced on October 25th, both here on my channel as well as over at Marla's channel. I'll make sure to link to Marla's channel in the description box below. So be sure to come back on the 25th to see if you are one of our lucky winners for one of these fabulous prizes. Okay, moving right along, now that I have finished up the coloring, I die cut a piece of Nina Classic Crest cardstock using the smallest die from the stitched slimline dies. And then I also used the slimline scenic borders. I used the grass and I die cut that from a piece of sage green cardstock. I adhered the piece of grass to the white panel with liquid glue, and then I used my scissors just to trim off the excess pieces. I die cut the word thankful once from kind of a mustardy yellow cardstock, and I also die cut it 4 more times from white cardstock just so I could have that dimension. And I did offset it just a tiny little bit so there would be a little bit of a white shadow. I did place that on my card just so I had an idea of where I wanted to stamp the sentiment for you. I used VersaFine Onyx Black ink to stamp that sentiment, and then I remembered that I wanted to add it in a cloudy sky, and I probably should have done this stenciling before I adhered the grass down, but I didn't. I was just too excited about moving along with my card. So I ended up just doing one small row of clouds up at the top, and I used Catherine Pooler's It's a Boy ink and a makeup blending brush to do that stenciling. Then I had die cut a piece of the same mustard yellow cardstock using the second largest die from the slimline stitched set, and I adhered my grassy cloudy sky panel onto that. Next, I adhered that to my card base, which started out at 8.5 by 7, and I scored it at 3.5 on the 7-inch side. So my finished card base is 3.5 by 8.5. I did run the gnomes through my brother's scan and cut machine to cut them out, and then of course I had to add a bunch of foam tape to the back of that and adhered them to the front of the card. And then for my large thankful word die cut, I used liquid glue to adhere that to the front of my card, and that's it. That finishes up my card for today. Don't forget to click on that hashtag to follow along with the hop and leave comments so you can be entered to win one of our fabulous prizes. Again, thank you to everyone for all of your support. It is so appreciated. I just don't even know that I could put it into words. Anyway, thanks again from the bottom of my heart, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not yet subscribed, I'd love it if you would, and don't forget to ring the bell so you're notified every time a new video is posted. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.